ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक् प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति।
Mahopanisad, chapter 5, verse 70. The attitude of a jnani while undergoing the bare minimum indispensable Vishaya Bhogas to keep the body going on. What is his outlook with respect to these Vishaya Bhogas, sense enjoyments, or whatever the sense requirements? That is being now described. Read 70.
अयत्नोपथेष्वक्षिदृग्दृश्येषु यथा मनः निरागमेव पतति तद्वत् कार्येषु धीरधीः।
यथा मनः अयत्नोपनतेषु अक्षिद्रव्येषु निरागम एव पतति तद्वत् कार्येषु धीरधीः। After tadvat take धीरधीः कार्येषु add वर्तते कार्येषु वर्तते। यथा मनः, just as the mind. What is this? The big phrase used there. Ayatnopanateshu akshidraveshu. First, let us see what is meant by akshidravya. Akshidravya means, akshi means eyes or indriyas also. Means in the sense objects or in the objects having forms, object of the eyes, akshidraveshu. But how? Ayatnopanateshu, na yatnopanateshu means at the things on which your sight falls, your eyes are directed towards without any volition on your part. You have not decided to see them. But what you are as you are, your gaze has got directed toward them. You are walking on the road. There are leaves, bushes, grass, etc. Your eyes are open, they will certainly come in your sight. You have not decided to see them. You have no purpose to see them. You are walking on the road. There are ranges of mountains on the side. You have not decided to see the mountain, but you can't miss the sight of the mountain. That is what is called as ayatnopannateshu akshidraveshu. In the objects having forms, means in the rupas, seen by the eyes, without any intention. That is it. What is the state of mind in this case? Niragameva patati. The sight gets directed toward this form, niragam, with indifference. There is neither like is there nor dislike is there. Just you are indifferent toward them. Patati. Tadvat, in the same manner, dhiradihi, ajnani, kareshu vartate, means engages himself in actions. Ajnani may take to actions, depending on the prarabdha, yet he is totally indifferent of them. They are guided by the prarabdha. He has no his own volition of likes or dislikes toward them. Just whatever that comes in the sight or view of your eyes, without your any intention, you are just indifferent toward them. Those forms do get registered in your mind, but you are totally indifferent toward them. Like this, Jnani at times engages in actions also, Vishaya Bhoga also. Continue.
परिज्ञायोपभुक्तो हि भोगो भवति तुष्टये विज्ञाय सेवितश्चोरः मैत्रीमेति न चोरताम्.
The question may come, look, intentionally or unintentionally, this jnani has taken to Vishaya Bhoga or any action. Is it not going to bind him? That also it can bind jnani also. No. How? He says, parijnaya upabhuktaha hi bhoga. He, because bhoga, sense pleasures or sense indulgence, or that is our sense experience. Parijnaya, knowing fully well their limited nature and knowing well that they are binding in nature. But because the body is there, for the upkeep of the body, as a prarabdha, whatever that comes across oneself is taken to. In this manner, the bhoga, the sense enjoyments or sense experience that one undergoes, will that one jnani undergoes, say, bhoga, tushtaye bhavati, becomes a means for contentment, in the sense, no bandhaya bhavati, no bandhaya bhavati. It doesn't happen to be a cause of bondage, because he's not interested in them. He doesn't take to them to be happier as such. The body is there, body needs it, whatever essentials. That is being supplied by the prarabdha that undergoes. So it is not something taken to intentionally to be happy as such. So therefore, tushtai, the contentment is there. It doesn't happen to be the cause of any bondage. For which an illustration is given. Yatha, just as Vidnyaya sevitaha chora maitrim eti choratam na eti. You know that this person is a thief. And he also knows that you know that he is a thief. And yet you keep association. You keep contact with that thief. That thief is not a thief as far as you are concerned. He becomes your friend because he knows that you know that he is a thief. The psychology. He knows, you already know that he is a thief. Therefore, he will not thieve anything from you. He will become a friend of yours. So that is yatha just vidnyaya. Vidnyaya, having fully known what this person is a thief, sevitaha chora. Chora, the thief, with whom you keep contact. Maitri meti, he becomes your friend. Choratam nayati. As far as you are concerned, it is not a thief for you. So like this, the bare minimum sense indulgence necessary for upkeep of the body is not going to bind the jnani. Further examples are given. Continue.
अशङ्कितापि सम्प्राप्ता ग्रामयात्रा यथा ध्वगैः प्रेक्षते तद्वदेवज्ञैः भोगश्रीरवलोक्यते
यथा अध्वगैः अशंकिता अपि संप्राप्ता ग्राम यात्रा प्रेक्षते तद्वदेव ज्ञैः भोगश्रीः अवलोक्यते. यथा just advagaihi. Advan means marga, road. Advaga means a traveler who walks on the road. Olden days walking was there. That there is the only mode of travel. At the most, the carts used to be there or horse carts used to be there. The travelers who walk on the road, advagaihi, ashankita api samprapta gramayat. On the road, they have to go through a village because it happens to be on the road. But it is ashankita. Ashankita means unplanned. They have not planned that you have to go through such and such village, etc. It happens to be on the road. What is their attitude? Say, Ramayatra, Prekshate. Of course, it comes to their side, but they are totally indifferent. Nothing to do with that village, but they pass through. This is how the manner in which indifferently the travelers see the passage through villages wherein which have come unplanned by them, means they happen to be on the road as such. Tadvadeva, in the same manner, Jnaihi, by the Jnanis, Bhogashrihi avalokyate. Bhogashrihi means the sense objects, the galore of sense pleasures, avalokyate are seen to be what? Indifferent. Because the body is there, because some prarabdha is there, such bhogas happen to be in life, whether enjoying or suffering. But they have not planned them. Maybe there was some software. But as far as present life is concerned, they have not deliberately worked for them. But by prarabdha, they happen to come on the way. They are just indifferent, though they are going through them. They may be experiencing them, but They have nothing to gain from it, nor anything to lose from that. Further example. Read.
मनसो निगृहीतस्य लीला भोगोल्पकोऽपि यः तमेवालब्धविस्तारं क्लिष्टत्वाद् बहुमन्यते।
निगृहीतस्य मनसः यः अल्पकः अपि भोगः, अल्पकः अपि लीला भोगः, लीला भोगः अलब्ध विस्तारम तम एव, अलब्ध विस्तारम तम एव क्लिष्टत्वा बहु मन्यते। Says, for a person, in the case of a person who is, what type of person is? Nigrihita manah. The person whose mind is under control. The mind is not running after the sense pleasures or sense objects. So for such a person who has the mastery over the mind, yaha, whatever, alpakaha api lila bhoga. Whatever, even little sense enjoyment means sense indulgence, it can be sukha or dukkha. How it has come to him? Leela bhoga. As a sports in the sense, according to his prarabdha. According to prarabdha, whatever jnani, whatever sense indulgence that comes across, it says, alabdha vistaram, not in plenty, etc. Even meager, tameva, even that, even this food, etc. Not in plenty, etc. But bare minimum required, etc. Klishtatva. Even to undergo that bhoga sentencing, he is what? He is a nuisance for him. Because his mind is so absorbed in Swarupa, even this little eating, etc., for the keep the body, etc., is a nuisance. Bahumanyate. Even a little of it, he says, it's too much. Means as if it's more than necessary. He is not interested in them at all. But per force, because the body is there, and he is aware of the body, he has to undergo them. If he was totally absorbed in Swarupa, not aware of the body, even this is not there. But Prarabdha Vasha is aware of the body. And whatever bare minimum sentences has come across, says it is what? Bahumanyat. Considered to be more than sufficient. But the requirements are met with. So now the question is, how is it that even a little of it is what more than necessary? How it happens to be? For this, further example is being given. Read.
बद्धमुक्तो महीपालः ग्रासमात्रेण तुष्यति परैरबद्धो नाक्रान्तः न राष्ट्रं बहुमन्यते।
बन्धमुक्तः महीपालः ग्रासमात्रेण, पाठांतर is there, gramamatreena tushyati. Paraihi, be careful there. Paraihi abadha. Paraihi abadha na akrantaha. Rashtram bahu na manyate. Rashtram bahu na manyate. A mahipala. Mahi means earth. Pala means protects, means a king. Protector of the earth means king. A king, what type of king? Bandha Mukta, who was held in captive by the enemy and released. This person king, Grasa Matrena Tushati. Even if he gets a morsel of food, he is happy. Other reading is Grama Matrena. Even if the king is given one village, just okay, you take care of it. It is for your purpose. He is happy with that. But who is that? Who was arrested but released. In contrast to this, Paraihi Abadha, a king not what? Held captive by enemy. Not only that, no Akranta, unassailed by enemies. Never overpowered by enemies. Say, such a king, Rashtram, his kingdom, Bahu Navanyati, doesn't consider to be enough. He wants bigger and bigger kingdom. This is the difference. Ajnani is never content with our bhogas he contract. Jnani is what? Even with little bare minimum necessities he comes across, he is very happy about it. His purpose is served because he doesn't depend on these things. But they are necessary for the body to go on. As his Ananda is what? Swarupa. Whereas Ajnani's Ananda depends on the sense object only. Therefore, he is not happy with however much that one gains. There is a contrast. For all these things, what is important is conquering the mind, mastering the mind, subduing the mind, also called as Manojaya, victory over the mind, or Manolaya, Manonasha, extinction of the mind. This is very important because entire samsara is projected the mind. Jagat, including our body, is Manovyapara, Sankalpa, is only projection of the mind. In sleep, your body is not there for you. Why? Mind is dormant in its immediate cause, avidya. It is not projected there. In the waking and the dream, the mind projects the body. So therefore, you are aware of the body. So, see, you must have come back for this. These atheists say, see, this Ishvara, Bhagavan, etc. is mental creation of human beings. And devotees get offended by that. You should not get offended by that. You should reply them, sir, you are talking little. Yes, Ishvara is projection of the mind, but you, your body, Jagat also is projection of the mind. Come on, prove your existence without the mind. Prove the existence of the Jagat without the mind. Then you can say that Ishvara is a Kapola Kalpita, the mental projection of the devotee. Everything, anything, and everything except Chaitanya and Chaitanya alone. Chit and Chit alone. Pure consciousness and pure consciousness alone. Pure awareness principle, pure awareness principle alone. Anything other than is mental projection, my dear sir, don't confine only to Ishvara. It applies to your bodies, including the Jagat. Know the truth. You have got some concept about the Ishvara and you deny. which is nothing, foolishness. You first define what you mean by Ishvara. First, you define what you mean by Bhagavan, whom you are denying. When you are denying, there is a concept about it. Be clear about that. Come on, bring that. Then we'll answer you. It's not that. Divinity principle is that formless. The principle because of which you dare to deny the existence of Ishvara is what? The Ishvara Tattva. The divinity principle. Can you negate it? Can you negate that you are there? Can you say, I am not there? What makes you say, I am? That is the divinity principle. Even the atheist cannot deny it. They may be reveling their own imagination, but that is nothing to do with the actual existence of the divinity principle. So they should be handled at their level. But the so-called devotees themselves don't know what it is. And they think bad about that. These people are negating Bhagavan, etc. So you know what it is all about. So therefore, this mind is the culprit. The great enemy should be taught lesson. See, when you have to encounter a powerful enemy, you have to prepare yourself. You should be ready to handle him. The Herculean task. So for which, say, have you seen these wrestlers? While wrestling, like that, be ready. This is. Continue.
हस्तं हतेन सम्पीड्य दन्तैर्दन्तान् विचूर्ण्य च अङ्गान्यङ्गौरिवाक्रम्य जयेदादौ स्वकं मनः.
First of all, conquer the mind. Keep the mind under control. For which say how? Getting ready now. As if you are fighting with a very tough enemy. Hastam hastena sampid. Having rubbed, pressed hand by the hand. Like that. Dantai dantan vichurnya. Gnashing. Grinding the teeth against the teeth. Come, I will show you. Vichurnya. Angani angaihi iva akramya. As if pressing the limbs by the other limbs. Come, like that. All the figurative demonstration, because things are done in wrestling, etc., or while fighting with others, boxing, etc., this is done. Angani angaya adau. First of all, swakam manaha jaye. Control your mind. Once your mind is controlled, the job is over. Because the main culprit is the mind, which needs to be trained properly. That mind needs to be handled properly. Why so? They say, why it is so important to control the mind? Listen, continue.
मनसो विजयान्नान्या गतिरस्ति भवार्णवे महानरकसाम्राज्ये मत्तदुष्कृतवारणाः.
Next line also.
आशाशरशलाकाढ्या दुर्जया हीन्द्रियारयः.
Bhavarnave manasa vijaya anya gati Nasti. Mahanaraka Samrajye Matta Dushkrita Varanaha and Vicharanti. Vicharanti to be added. Asha Shara Shalakadya Indriyaraya Indriyaraya Durjayaha Bhavarnave means while crossing the ocean of samsara. Bhava means samsara compared to ocean, because the ocean is difficult to cross over. So to cross over this difficult ocean of samsara is while doing so, manasaha vijaya, other than the conquering of the mind, other than the conquering of the mind, anya gatihi nasti. Here anya gati means upaya. There is no other means than what? Manasaha vijaya. To cross over the ocean of samsara, there is no other means than control the mind or conquer the mind. Manasaha vijaya, anyagati, other means is not there at all. And in this Mahanaraka Samrajya, the samsara is compared to an empire of great hell. Think of it. Empire of great hell. In this empire of great hell, Matta Dushkrita Varanaha. Varanaha means elephants. Matta means in rut. Who are they? Dushkrita Varana. The elephants in rut in the form of Dushkriti means sins. That is, sins is compared to elephants in rut. This word, Vicharanti, are wandering around. Be careful. You will be the victim at any time. And it says, Indriyarayaha. Indriyas as Ari. Ari means enemy. Araya means plural, enemies. The enemies in the form of senses. And Adhyaha, Sampannaha. These enemies called Indriya senses are endowed with what? Asha Shara Shalaka. Shalaka means the dart or arrows. Even arrows, at the tip there is a metal cap. So that is the which is dangerous. It pierces. Or dart, it pierces. So what is the dart, arrows? Asha Shara Shalaka. The desires in the form of arrows having such darts or the tips. Such indriyas are what? Durjaya. Very difficult to conquer over. They are very difficult to conquer. Indriyaraya. Indriyaraya. So therefore, Manasaha Jaya, master of the mind, has got very great relevance, or it is a great means to cross over this samsara sagara, which is like a Mahanaraka with the sins like the elephants in rut. So the person who has mastered the mind and the senses is able to subdue all the vagaries of the mind, which is a product of past vasanas. Continue.
प्रक्षीणचित्तदर्पस्य निगृहीतेन्द्रियद्विषः पद्मिन्य इव हेमन्ते क्षीयन्ते भोगवासनाः.
In the case of such person who is prakshina chitta darpasya, one who has subdued the vagaries of the mind, the haughtiness of the mind. Prakshina chitta darpasya and nigrihitendriya dvisha. One who has nigrihita, controlled, the master, the indriyas who are in the form of enemies. Indriyas in the form of enemies. What happens to them? In such case, the bhoga vasanas, the desires to have sense pleasures, in the case of person who has subdued the vagaries of the mind, the haughtiness of the mind, and who has controlled the enemies in the form of senses. In this case, bhoga vasana, or desires for sense pleasure, what happens? Hemante padminyaha iva, like the lotuses in the winter, kshiyanti, get destroyed. For lotuses, bright and brilliant sun is necessary. Lotuses thrive. Winter, they fade away because they do not get the sufficient sun. Like that, in the case of the person who has mastered the mind and the senses, the desire for sense pleasure, they just fade away. They have no power to thrive. That means the case. Mastery over the mind and mastery over the senses becomes indispensable means to cross over the ocean of samsara. Continue.
तावन्निशीव वेताला वसन्तिरुदिवासनाः एकतत्त्वदृढाभ्यासात् यावन्न विजितं मनः.
एकतत्व दृढ़ाभ्यास यावत् मनः न विजितं तावत् निशि वेतालाः इव हृदि वासनाः Patantara is there. Vasanti or Valganti. Vasanaha, Vasanti or Valganti. So long as this is not accomplished. What is that? Yavat Ekatatra Dridabhyasa. By the Dridabhyasa, by the constant, firm in the sense, constant and consistent practice of Ekatattva. Ekatattva here is Nididhyasana. Repeatedly making the mind in non-dual Atma Brahma by discarding Anatma Pratyaya and maintaining Atma Pratyaya. Discarding thoughts about Anatma and maintaining the thoughts which reveal Atma Sarup. In short, by Nididhyasana. By such firm practice, constant and consistent. Yavat manaha na vijitam. By such practice, so long as the mind is not conquered, tavat, till then, he says, Hrudi vasanaha vasanti. Hrudi, antakarna, vasanaha, samskaras of bhoga, sense pleasures. Vasanti, abide, remain, or valganti means dance, jump. Valganti means they dance, they jump. Or vasanti, they abide. How? He says, Nishi Vetalaha, like the ghost dance and jump in the night. Vetalaha, ghost. That they were, ghosts don't come in the, what is that? Daytime. They come in night only. That is the concept. Don't ask whether they are there or not. I think, who said that? I think Bertrand Russell, I think. I don't believe in ghosts, but I'm afraid of them. I don't believe in ghosts, but I'm afraid of them. Whatever it may be, they cannot be totally ruled out. Okay. More often than not, it is mental imagination. But in principle, they cannot be ruled out. There is a cause for them. They are the unfortunate ones who have not got the next embodiment. And they try to satiate something with such things. So, but one thing, they also got fear. They also got fear. If Bhagavan Nama is there, no ghost can come anywhere near. You know that story of Tulsidas ji? Tulsidas was very much distressed that he could not have darshan of Hanumanji. So, daily routine doing Adhusthana, etc. Sandhyavana, etc. And afterward, that water, Arghya water, he used to put in some place which is not trampled upon by someone. Generally, it is put at the base of a tree, where the roots are there, so that nobody tramples them. Or a holy tree like people tree, etc. He is always on the move. One day, he finished his Anushtana. As usual, he went under a tree, he poured that water. Suddenly, a ghost appeared with all humility and thankfulness, doing namaskara to him. He said, Maharaj, with your holy water, I got redeemed from my ghost embodiment. I will be taking now my next embodiment. That ghost now appearing as an individual. He said, Maharaj, you appear to be very sad. What a great Mahatma you are. Being such a great Mahatma, how is that you appear to be sad? Tulsidas said, look, I am doing so much of sadhana, and yet I could not have the darshan of Hanuman. Said, Maharaj, don't worry. I know where Hanuman is. Where? See, go to Varanasi. On Ganga Ghat, at such and such place, daily Ramayana Katha goes on. And there is one listener who comes first of all. You are the first one to reach that place where nobody has reached. And by evening, when the Katha is over, so it all go and last he goes. That person is Hanuman. Tulsidas was very happy. He said, you are so kind to me. Why don't you come with me also? No, I can't. Wherever Hanuman is there, ghost can't come. You'll be finished. So therefore, I can't come. So like that. So this is how, what is that? Bhagavan Nama, Hanuman Chalisa, etc. It is an antidote for ghosts. For Sankata Mochana. No Sankata, Hanuman Chalisa. Person should have Shraddha. Our people don't have Shraddha in the Hanuman Chalisa, Ram Raksha Stotra, Vishnu Sahasranama. Anything which is dharmic can be accomplished by that. Nothing impossible by these means. But we don't have that Shraddha. Anyway, the topic of Hanuman Chalisa came. You know who wrote and when it was written? Tulsidas happened to be in Mathura or Vrindavan. News reached Akbar, who was a contemporary. See, Tulsidas, Mirabai, Madhusudana Saraswati, Akbar, they are all contemporaries. Not one Surdas also was contemporary. So news reached Akbar. And he said, it's a great Mahatma. Emperor, no, that haughtiness of the power is there. He said, ask him to come to Red Fort. I want to see him. Soldiers went and he said, you have to come to Red Fort. This is the order of the emperor. He said, what? I am a devotee of Rama. What have I to do with Red Fort? What have I to do with the emperor? I am not coming. They reported. Akbar was very angry. Defying my order? Such a haughtiness. He said, arrest him and bring him. Birbal was there. Emperor, please don't do that. But Akbar is not in a mood to listen to Birbal. He ordered. And he said, with handcuffs, was brought to, dragged to where? Red Fort. No, he was in Agra. Agra. Red Fort. Akbar went. I hear that you do many miracles. Come on, show me a miracle and get released from this. Tulsidas said, look, I am simply a devotee of Rama. I am not a magician to show you miracles. I don't know miracles. I am not a magician. Akbar got still further infuriated. Was fury. Being infuriated, he said, with handcuffs, put him in the dark room in the prison. There's no light at all. Put Tulsidas ji, the dark room with the handcuffs, was weeping. For no reason I'm getting this punishment. Night, something happened. As if with the handcuffs, he is writing something on a paper. You don't know what it is also in the dark. Next day morning, thousands of monkeys came and attacked Red Fort and destroyed the Red Fort. Don't know from where they came. News went to Akbar. Akbar asked, Birbal, what is this? I told you yesterday itself. Don't put him in the prison. But you didn't listen me. What can I do for? So Akbar understood. He was ashamed. He went this thing and said, release him and with honor take him wherever he wants. So that is what he wrote was Hanuman Chalisa, Sankata Mochana. So Tulsidas extracted a boon from Rama and Hanuman that not only you have rescued me, but whoever reads with due Shraddha, they also should be released from this Sankata. So therefore that is a Sankata Mochana. So you should have Shraddha. At least try and see the result. You will get confused. You will get convinced. Anyway. So therefore it says, this all context of Vetala, okay? Don't forget that. Wherever Bhagavan Nama is there, wherever Hanuman is there, wherever Ram Nama is there, name of Ishvara in any form is there, ghost can't play pranks. But they are also frightened. They also got fear. Example was that of a ghost which got released because of the Anushtana water of Tulsidas. Take it. Because they see these things we should know. We should at least say, look here. You have to face Vyavahara. You have to face Samsara being Grihastha. Some problems will be there. You can solve this way. Instead of polishing the boots of the bosses, go to the top boss of all bosses. If you put it in your pocket, what local bosses will do? So that way, he is the Ishvara. Bhagavan is the final sanctioning authority. If he signs, who else can stop it? And if he punishes, who can stop it? No one. You know, see, you should know all this. Though out of context, not out of context. Enemy of monkeys was constructing the Ramasetu from Rameshwaram to Lanka. And Rama was watching. These hefty monkeys, big boulders and throwing at their floating. So Rama thought, let me also do something. He quietly took one stone and placed it in the ocean. It sank. It was quiet. Neil or someone saw it. Bhagavan, look, before we place that stone in the ocean, we write Ram on that. Whereas when you, Rama, has forsaken the stone, how can it float? Our stones float because the Ram Nama. Because when you were Rama, you have given up that stone. How can it float? And one more thing, it seems they were not writing Rama. Two stones, Rama, just to get joined. Otherwise, individually they will get floating. Bridge will not be there. So that cohesiveness one. So that is the greatness of name of the Lord. It can accomplish anything that is even so-called impossible thing, provided Shraddha must be there, and what is to be accomplished must be in accordance with the dharma, not adharmic. So, so long as the mind is not controlled by repeated nidhyasana, till then the ghost of vasanas will jump and dance in your antakarana. They will harass you. They will torture you. So intensify the dridabhyasa, the firm, steadfast, repeated practice of ekatattva, non-dual reality, Atma Sarupa, Brahma Sarupa, in terms of nididhyasana. Now this mind is such that it can make you, it can mar you. It can release you from the samsara, it can keep you bound in samsara. But we have seen, manaiva manusyanam karanam bandha moksha. Bandhaya vishayasaktam mukte nirvishayam mana. Only one and the one same means mind is the cause for both bondage and liberation. The mind steeped in sense indulgence, sense pleasure is the means of bondage. Nirvishayam mana. Mind totally free from sense of pleasure, sense object is the means for liberation. So here now, the different roles played by mind are explained in detail. Manasaha sarvartha sadhakatva. Sarvartha sadhakatva. This mind can accomplish anything. It can damn you also. It depends how you use the mind. So therefore, use the mind properly to your advantage and not to your detriment. For which, first, you need to be educated as to what is the goal of life. What is the purpose of human existence? What are the means to get free from the limitations? What are the means to know our Sarupa? For which, how to control the mind? All this need to be taken to. You'll see in detail.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः। ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः